Hi, Princess Lily here with another Transgirl CNC where we talk about comics, cartoons, and other awesome nerd shit. So, today we're talking about Gotham City Garage. That's right, you all knew I was going to choose the queerest looking cover and put it on display. This one's it. The contents of this particular issue aren't very queer, but hey, the cover looks like Supergirl's going to make out with Poison Ivy, and I'm all about that, so that's what that is. So what is Gotham City Garage? Before we get into that, let me just let y'all know that in this month's previews issue, because I didn't mention it for whatever reason in the last video, or the video where we did the previews, Legend of Korra, Turf Wars, Volume 3, the final chapter. That's coming out in June. Order it. Get your orders in. You need it if you're already reading it. If you're not already reading it, get the other 2 volumes and order it anyway. It's really good. So there, message over. Moving on. Got my water. So, what is Gotham City Garage? Gotham City Garage is an Elseworlds comic based on PVC statues that DC made. They really love to make all kinds of different statues. It's kind of how Bombshells was started as well, as it was a series of statues and somebody said, hey, what's the story behind these here statues? And then they decided to make a whole world and comic line based off of it. And, well, while I like Bombshells a whole lot, and maybe one day we'll talk about that, maybe that's next week. Who knows? I don't yet. Anyway, while I do like Bombshells a whole lot, I don't dislike Gotham City Garage, but it's a little, I don't know, it's got its highs and it's got its lows. To be certain, it's got all the characters that you already know and love from DC, and they put them in different fantastical roles. So what are the roles? The comic itself is centered around Cara Gordon. You heard me right, it's Cara Gordon, not Cara Zor-El. Well, she's still Cara Zor-El, but she doesn't really know that. She was adopted by Jim Gordon, that's right, Commissioner Gordon, and basically raised or changed to believe that she is Jim Gordon's daughter, and Barbara believes it too. It's a whole thing, because in this world, everybody's under the control of what's called ride-alongs, produced by LexCorp. They control all your moods, keeping you from feeling anything negative, having any negative thoughts, or really even any free will. So just go along with the program and continues to say, Lex loves you. It's creepy, you know. That's a world that some people want. I don't want that. Anyway, so Jim uses, I guess, whatever trickery, technical know-how he has as a mid-level police officer, and changes the ride-along of his own daughter, Barbara Gordon, and implants the memories that Cara is her sister. It's a whole thing. So Cara is a technician for these ride-alongs, and she one day helps a kid. The robots called gardeners, because everybody lives in one city called the Garden. It's headed by Lex Luthor. He's the governor, or mayor, whatever. He runs the place, and Batman is like his hound. It's really weird. Anyway, these robots recognize Cara is Kryptonian. They're going to kill her. Jim's like, get out! And so she does. She makes it outside the dome, outside the red energy sun thing that it's covered by, and into the yellow sun, and becomes Supergirl. Well, not right away, obviously. She kind of grows into it. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story, because you're going to want to read this for yourself. It's pretty interesting. It's not the greatest Elseworlds comic I've ever seen, but I like it more or less. Cara comes in contact with the Gotham City Garage, basically a group of people who have decided to fight back against Lex in any kind of way they can, hearing stories of old Gotham and how people were free to do what they wanted. Maybe it wasn't always good, maybe the weather was really shitty and bad, but it was still free, still Gotham, you know, and now they're living in the free wastes, which is actually named after Mr. Miracle Scott Free himself, for reasons. Read about it. So Cara gets her own motorcycle, and like there's just a lot of adventures, and Wonder Woman's a big feature in this, like mostly as a myth, but she does come along and kicks a whole lot of ass when she does decide to show up. Now, it's got a lot of interesting moments in it of, you know, what's free will, you know, how important is that versus the safety of people, and I mean, it doesn't handle those things very well. I would say not very well at all. I mean, it presents them, but it doesn't really challenge you with them. For example, everybody believes that Batman is just being controlled by the ride-along technology, and when they finally shut it off of him, it just realized that, hey, he's still a guy who thinks that Lex is doing the right thing, and that he's going to continue to do what Lex wants him to do, because that's the way to make everybody safe. He's still that dude. Maybe not to the level he was when he was controlled, but he's still that guy. And so, I don't know, it's interesting. I think that they could have handled the topic better. You know, free will versus safety, etc. Gone a little more harder into it. But they don't. They kind of bring up these themes and then kind of also abandon them. Sort of at the same time. They're still, like, there overall, but they're not, like, the focus. The focus, as mentioned, is all on Cara. You know, her coming to terms with the fact that she's a Kryptonian and how that affects her relationship with her sister, Barbara, who, you know, is also dealing with the fact that Cara is not who she thought she was. You know, it's not Cara's fault, it's Jim's fault, but hey, that's still a lot of weird feelings, you know, to have. Are there any queer relationships in this? Yes. Yes, there are. Zatanna and the Silver Banshee are all into each other. Catwoman, who is actually not Selena Kyle, but is Mercy Graves, Lex Luthor's assistant, she has her own wife/girlfriend, so, I mean, there's definitely some queer vibes going on here, so I'm definitely, you know, excited for those, and I like those, and we'll see where it goes. In issue 11, they're kind of getting to, like, the big point, so I don't think there's going to be a whole lot left to the story. I'm guessing maybe 5, maybe 4 or 3 more issues, and that's going to be it. They might, you know, do a whole other series later on like they did with Bombshells. I don't know. We'll see. Would I read it? Yeah, I'd read it. So, if you don't want to find all the single issues themselves, right now there's currently 11. You can definitely check this out in a trade paperback whenever they decide to bring that out, because they totally are going to. So, yeah. So what do I think about the comic overall? It's not bad, you know. I've certainly read worse comics. I'm not bringing it up by name at all. I mean, I want to, but I won't. Have I read better comics? Yes. I absolutely have totally read much better comics. But at the end of the day, I'm still pleased, so, you know, I totally suggest this one. But as a trade paperback, instead of getting all the singular issues. Unless you're just a collector and you need to have singular issues. So, yep. It's kind of me. That's it. That's all I really have to say about Gotham City Garage. There's the fight between free will and safety and control. And there's actually a hidden plot line about Lex himself, and which is kind of out of left field when you get to it. Like, you don't see it coming. And so I guess I appreciate that in and of itself. But overall, I don't know. So, yep, that's it. So what are we talking about next? As I said, I kind of don't know. But I'll figure it out before we get to the next video. But until then, love comics, love cartoons, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.